Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome back.
We are back.
Hey, y'all, I love you guys. Have I told you that?
Yeah, we love you back.
I know.
What's
I love
up
you
with
so
Kingpin
much.
Pink hoodie, though.
It take a real man who's secure within his sexuality to wear pink.
That tan is so looking good
and
on you.
The tan, it's the caramel complexion. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get my swag on, bro. I'm in the midst of greatness, so I have to exude that type of, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
energy.
we heard you was in the
You're
middle of the
exuding like a
cook-off.
motherfucker.
I walked in over the weekend. I walked into the middle of a real Southern Louisiana cook-off. Real intense.
Did bullets
ribs
fly?
on one grill. No bullets fly. Thankfully, that no bodies were
Just
uncovered
asking.
or a cause. It was a real peaceful event. We had some fall off the bone ribs, and we had some barbecue chicken. Everything was amazing. Home cooked food. You really don't. I don't want to say you don't get home cooked food because the wife cooks for me all the time, but that country grandma,
Even though it's not her
grandpa
job.
cooking,
Just
you really
saying.
don't get that too often. So we got to go back to her family's roots and got to try it. So
I
it was
love it.
amazing. My kids had a great time, so I'm good. I feel refreshed. I'm not as angry
With
as
a
I
tan.
normally am. With a tan.
Oh, you're going to get angry today.
Am I?
Woohoo!
I get angry all the time. And you know what, people? It's in my nature, man. I just let my blood pressure goes up and shit. It's the Latin blood.
How
I
you
mean?
doing, Miss Wendy Day?
I'm great. I have no Latin blood, but I can get pissed off.
Okay.
You know what somebody told me about the good thing about being pissed off is? It's better than being pissed on.
I've heard that rumor.
Bars.
Well,
Pineapple!
word to R. Kelly.
Okay, let's get started. The first topic of the day is called false expectations.
Ooh.
expectations.
So if you're an artist,
You know, that's what I do for a living. I manage expectations.
I think
Nobody is
that's what
strong
we all
enough to
do.
hold up the weight of anyone's expectations. So, if you're expecting something, you've already set yourself up for failure. You have to be prepared for it. You have to be educated enough to know what it is that you're going to get. And
Educated.
that requires information. And if you're waiting on somebody to help you because of who you are, because of what you've done or what you did, you're going to be waiting till you're blue in the fucking face.
Yep. Kingpin, make me famous.
Oh my God. How often do we hear that?
Yes.
Every day.
I'm going to pay you.
Yes.
Who do I got to pay?
How much is it?
How much
Yeah.
does it cost?
Yeah.
And I think that they think sometimes the dollar amount equals the success. So if I give you $25,000, this is going to happen.
Right. I don't have to do any work. It'll just occur.
In a perfect world, maybe. But even magic requires work. You know what I mean? You still gotta draw out the pentagram and light
Even
the candles.
magic
and
takes
it requires
work.
man.
Yes.
A magic spell requires work to do it. So, in the movies, you gotta see the people. They gotta recite the lines just the right way, and everything has to be right on a certain night, and all of the variables have to meet. So, in order for magic to happen in the music business, you're going to have to be casting the spell for about 10 years before it could take place.
Right.
And then once it does, what you do once you have people's attention is what's going to catapult it to the next level. So expectations, number one red flag for you. So don't do it.
I think the more educated an artist is, the more realistic the expectations are. I get worried about the guys that aren't educated. And then even when, like, we explain to them how this works, they hear me and they go, Anywho, can we do this, and this? And it's like, okay, you just heard nothing I said. Why did you hire me if we're going to do it your way? People really hire me so that I can tell them they're right, even when they're not. And
That's what
you
most
already
people
know
pay
I
for a
don't do that.
service for. Most people don't understand, do you know how a plane works?
No,
You just know to buy a ticket and get on it.
correct.
You don't know what it takes to load a plane. You don't know what it takes to fly a plane, what it takes to fuel a plane, what it takes to stock a plane. We just know we pay for a ticket, we get on it. It's going to get us to our destination. So if we're 10 minutes late, we're already pissed off. Oh my God, this is not what I paid for. This isn't the seat that I paid for. Why are we still here? What's taking so long? Because it's the mentality, it's the microwaving of America, right? Remember before the microwave, and before you could plop something into the microwave that was frozen, and 60 seconds later get out a full meal, it had to sit in the oven and had to reheat
We had the
food.
thought first.
Right, we had the TV dinners where it came on an aluminum tray with an aluminum
Yes.
lid, and you had to heat it in the oven and preheat the oven and all that.
Yes.
There was no fast food,
No,
and now
that was fast.
now attention is fast,
Right.
so it's the quickest way to get it.
So are we saying that they need to lower expectations, have zero expectations, or just have realistic?
Well, have
expectations?
realistic ones. I don't think you should have no expectations. You won't get out of bed.
How about another Asian? How about preparation?
Mhm.
How about you increase your preparation so that you can be prepared for whatever it is that you may have expected to happen?
I like
So
that.
if you serve a record and you expect the record to take off and it takes off, are you prepared for it to take off? So
Some people aren't prepared for that. to
I
happen.
think 99.9% of the people don't know the difference between preparation and expectation. And I think they go hand in hand.
I think you also need to have goals. Like you need to know what you're trying to achieve. The first thing I ask our clients is, what is your goal? Because if I don't know where you're trying to get to, I don't know how to get you there. So I can't fulfill any expectations if I don't know what the end result is supposed to be.
And it's not as bland as you want to be a star. We know that's the dream. But what's the goal? Is the goal 1 record, 5 records? Is the goal stability, longevity? Is it to introduce something? Are we using music to get you to another checkpoint along the race? So having an ultimate goal will definitely help you prepare for the expectation level.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the way you said that.
Yeah. How do we know when an artist has a hit record?
You'll know.
Is this a setup?
Exaggerated on the hit record.
We don't know because we can't say what a hit record is. The people tell us what a hit record is. The fans tell us what a hit record is.
I think when you hear a record come out of the blue and it starts to react and then it takes over the world, I think people's expectations on how that worked was really fucked up. Because it didn't multiply over the world overnight. It was, this is what's happening right now. All hands on deck. This is what we have to push out. And I think a lot of resources are exhausted to keep that record growing. And if it stops to grow, then the resources get pulled back. So I think a hit record, you know a hit record when you hear it. I don't care who you are. You know a hit record when you hear it. The first time you hear a hit record, your fucking whole body's going to do this. Some music, it doesn't necessarily have to be a hit record in order to be a good record. Hit records are a home run. That's out of the park.
And it's rare.
Yeah, it's rare. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's rare.
How many people hit out of the park home runs consistently?
So we're saying a hit record is a lot more easier to manage than is what we're saying. Also? Or...
No, it's not.
No, hell no.
It's not at all. It's
lightning in a bottle.
Pressure. It's lightning in a bottle, and the pressure is greater because you can't fuck it up.
And it's easy to fuck it up.
It's very easy to fuck it up. You can really do something wrong and lose the record. But it's also a slow build. Like just because it's a hit record, the last hit record I worked was Little Donald Do Better. We put it out on Valentine's Day, and it didn't really start to gain momentum until September. I mean, it started to do well, and we could see it growing, but it didn't really even start to move until September.
Yeah, I know it was close to like
it's 5 months
before it really.
Yes.
The following year.
Yes.
Now, can you guys give me an example, each of you, of someone fumbling a hit record?
Ooh.
Shit, I use my guys. Cool America. We Make Some Shake all the way up. Waited on the video, waited 3 months to get the video out. I mean, shout out the video god and everybody else. But they just took too many chances. Ray Sherman and a couple people had reached out for the instrumental to do remixes. They refused to give it out. So they did a lot of bonehead things, and then they didn't have the backup plan. They didn't have the follow-up record. Make Some Shake had broken into the top 10, right? And when it came time for them to deliver that follow-up record, the fans wanted another Make Some Shake. And that's the problem with giving somebody a record that's
bigger than them.
I want to say bigger than them because these kids, they have found their sound, and the Make Some Shake record ended up being a record that South by Southwest influenced. We went to South by Southwest, and a whole bunch of records was on that, AirPod, iPod, whatever it is. We played it, people went going crazy. So that forced the label to come back and put some resources behind it and then put it out. By that time, all of the DJs across the country had gotten a check or a visit from this label. So these kids were on the road for 3 years before they put a hit record in somebody's hand, and then it took off.
Right.
Because the minute you heard Make Some Shake, you knew it was something special about the record. And it was obvious because when they gave that record to the DJs in Atlanta, within that weekend, it had played on all the radio stations. So much so that the radio people came down and was like, what are we doing? Because now, okay, you gave us a hit record. Now what? So now it's time to get on the road and start visiting some of these markets. So by the time those guys had a hit record, they had the infrastructure all the way across the board. They had the relationships. They went and did every DJ's birthday party for free for 2 years. They went and showed up at every open mic across the country. Anything that was involving them being there, they were there. We did, game day numerous times on ESPN, everything with the promo. But when it came time for them to deliver the content, what makes them a star, they fell short of the glory. And, then jail and everything else.
And sometimes it's political. Like you can deliver something to a label. And I'm talking about major labels at this point, although it could be any label. And you might not have the right manager, or the artist might be difficult to work with. Like there's so many factors at play, your A&R guy could get fired, or not even get fired. He could leave, or she could leave and go to another label. There's so many different things that can fuck something up. And I'm trying to think of an example, and I really can't think of one. There's songs that I thought should have been bigger than they are, like Dreamin' by Young Jeezy, right? That was such a big record. I think that could have been huge for him, but for some reason, Def Jam didn't focus on it the way they should have, you know? And I can't...
record with Keisha Cole?
Yeah. Yep.
Then they broke up.
It could be. It could exactly. But that's my point. It could be that, or it could be,
or it could be the label getting back at a producer and not putting him on a Beyonce album because he fucked up and tried to do some sneaky shit. So they punished him.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Fuck you. You're not getting on the album.
All the time. All the time.
So there's 1,000 different ways to make a record work. There's 100,000 different ways to fuck it up.
Yes. It's easier to fuck up than it is to win.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking up, I do want to speak on something that we haven't yet, which is dope, talented artists, terrible artists to deal with, terrible work ethic.
Ooh.
But they're they are the lightning in the bottle, but they're mechanics and everything else. Maybe they are addicted to drugs
or whatever.
And you can just see them deteriorating themselves, but they're just so gifted.
Yeah.
It's not our job to save anybody. You know what I mean? You're talented. So what?
I've tried to save artists. It's hard. It's hard to save a human that doesn't feel savable inside. It's really hard to drag somebody across the finish line. And I've spent a career trying to do that. It's hard.
Some of these guys will piss away a fortune with poor decisions. So, I just pray for them. That's all I could do. I don't care how talented you are. Talent means nothing. All the talented people, in my opinion, are in prison. I was in prison. Some of the most talented rappers, artists, poets, writers, some of the most smartest people in the world made a fucked up decision and are sitting behind a fence. The creatives are behind a cage right now. So if you're talented and you're free and you're fucking it up, you're a waste of life. Because it's somebody right now behind a fence that is 10 times more talented than you, that would probably devour that opportunity, but because you're entitled, and because everybody around you has led you to believe that you're the second coming since sliced bread, you think that you could treat and talk to people any kind of way. And I personally wouldn't give a fuck how many bricks you sold, who you shot, robbed, or killed. It means shit in the music industry.
It's true. And fame is a drug. Once you have a taste of that, it's like you crave more. And I feel like sometimes artists will do anything to keep that momentum going, and you can't keep it going. It ebbs and flows. It's just the nature of fame. You can't really catch it.
Lil Pump.
Yeah, you just got to wive that.
I think it's called pop something. Speaking about grabbing the attention, trying to switch genres and doing what you got to do to stay on top.
Wow.
I'm not mad at him. And an artist should be able to paint with any brush.
Right.
So
I feel that.
Power.
I think also there's artists that come along and it's not what they think it's going to be. Like I'm looking at Fetty Wap's career and I'm wondering, how did you go from there to there? Is it that it wasn't what you thought it would be? Did you not get enough in return? Did you hate it? Like what happened?
7 number one records. 7 number one records on one album. Fucking insane. That's like some Lauryn Hill type shit.
And then
that's
that
crazy.
was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then he caught a case.
Similar record. Yeah, he caught a case. He's dropped similar records
That's not a case. That's a conspiracy. With them motherfuckers caught, they were
that's
accused
that's
of
serious.
trafficking, all kinds of shit. Them guys there, free them guys if they free. But if not,
that's rough.
Everybody lawyer up, man. Y'all gonna need it.
Yeah. All right, dear cheat code. I have management, but I think they fell back from managing me. In the beginning, everything was extremely exciting. DJ listening events, introducing me to the main people in the city, even some club vibes. But I hate going out and we butt heads about this topic. I just don't think I need to be out and people seeing me every single day. Okay. So right now, they not speaking to me. What do I do? Start going out?
The manager wanted it more than the artist.
Yeah.
The manager was willing to. 9 times out of 10, if somebody is managing an independent artist, they're not making any money.
Facts.
So if they're working 9 to 5
to
fund their 5 to 9, then that means those 4 or 5 hours they could be doing anything else in the world, bettering themselves. They're using it as an opportunity to help you on your campaign.
Correct.
And if they have to remind you that what clubs you have to be at, if they have to remind you to post on social media, if they have to remind you to not, do stupid shit on camera, whatever, then you don't want it.
Right.
You going to wake up and be responsible for what the fuck you want.
Yes.
And if not, then people are only going to go half as hard as you. Remember this. Anybody listening to this right now, you want to know one of the main cheat codes? Your team will only go half as hard as you do.
Facts.
So if you want them to go dumb hard, you got to go dumber.
You've got to see that they really want it, and your manager should be chasing to keep up with you. They're helping you steer the ship. They're not the ship. And I think sometimes we don't really understand what a manager is. They're support for your career.
Correct.
They're not your career.
Correct.
And I don't want to bag on this person, but if you understood a little bit better about the industry, you wouldn't have even asked that question.
I know your manager is not your investor. Your manager is not your do-boy, not your personal assistant.
Not your wallet,
stylist,
not your ATM.
Not your driver, not your best friend, not your flunky, not your gopher,
not your pimp.
Boy, not any of those things. Not your pimp, not your,
right.
Not anybody that's going to take advantage of you. I know what a manager is not. And I think you should start there.
Yeah.
And if you feel that all of the things that we've said, this person that is, fancies themselves your manager is no longer doing, then, don't give them a title. If they didn't sign no paperwork with you, that's not your manager, that's your friend. If you really want somebody to manage you, then put it on paper. If not, y'all just working towards building something.
And if you're going to put it on paper, make sure there's some stipulations as to what they have to bring to the table and what the remedy is if they don't do it. And vice versa. If you're a manager, make sure it states in there clearly what your expectations of that artist are so that if they don't do it, you can, it's right here. Right. I'm sorry, I'm out.
Right. And I don't mean download one of them contracts with Music Biz.
Oh, God, no. No.
Nothing wrong with any of those agreements. But some of those agreements are outdated.
There is.
Some of these agreements are outdated. Some of them have really, really outdated terms and terminology and language, and it'll put you at a real, real disadvantage. So you think you're being slick by spending $20 on this, music industry slick package or whatever it is, and you're going to use that shit, and you're going to get laughed out of a room, and somebody's going to see that and automatically take advantage of all the other shit that you're not, benefiting from downloading this generic type of paperwork. So be mindful.
So a contract is really just an agreement between two people. It talks about like what you're going to do, what the other person's going to do, and then what happens if either person doesn't do it. So when you download something off the internet, they don't know what either of you is supposed to do. They don't know your situation. So it's better than nothing almost, but spend the money and get a real contract drafted up. I hope you never need it. But if you ever need to pull out that contract down the road, you will be so glad you spent that money, because the worst thing is not being able to get out of something that you signed, especially if you didn't know.
Yeah, like buying beats and getting those split sheets and then trying to get distribution through somebody and trying to film a big ass video, but it's a big ass producer. So now they want to know who's going to get paid and how they're going to get paid. And you can't get a hold of nobody now. So you just shot the $20,000 video, paid $10,000 for the beat, paid your publicist $10,000 and went and dropped everybody off a bag, and now you can't put the motherfucker out.
Oops.
Oopsie. So
I would also include your management probably stop believing in you because you don't believe in you.
That's a great point. Enough. Yeah.
We don't go half as hard as you are.
Maybe you don't really want it. Maybe you don't really want it. Maybe you think that you want it, but
you want the idea of it, Wendy.
That's what it is.
They want the idea of
they want the
successful.
fame.
Yeah.
They want the. It does look easy.
It looks very easy.
It does look easy.
Because you can emulate it very easily on social media.
I remember Buddha Bless sleeping on an air mattress, getting locked in the studio.
I remember him wearing the same clothes all the time, too.
He would be locked in the studio. That's my brother.
Proud of you, bro.
He would be locked in the studio and he would sleep on an air mattress. And no matter what time you went to the studio, he was living in the studio. That's where he lived. He left home. He had the means to go do whatever.
Because he wanted it.
He wanted to live next to the microphone. He woke up inspired. He would lay reference tracks. He would make beats. And now
that's beautiful.
He's one of the most sought after producers in the game. So it's a testament.
But we always knew he would be. Isn't that funny? Like you mentioned him and we all have the same experience with him. And it made my heart sing when you mentioned him, because it's like he worked so hard and he's gotten there.
The crazy thing is, right? I remember when his first biggest record was the 2 Chainz and Drake record.
Cool America's record first.
Well, yes.
Let's get it together.
But then when Drizzy
when Drizzy walked in and said, "I love that record," yeah, fuck Cool America. Shout out to AMG and T Money and them boys. The business was handled properly.
But look, when he just produced the record, he was out everywhere telling everybody to play this particular record that he produced.
He was so proud of that record. That Big Amount record was huge.
The Big Amount, 2 Chainz Big Amount featuring.
I got a Big Amount. I think I'm the biggest out.
Featuring
That was a
Drake.
good record.
And
it really killed me. Listen, prime example. Cool America had that song, did a video to that bitch in California.
That same beat?
With the same beat. We filmed the video to it. We was all in Venice Beach, Muscle Beach. Had all the leaders of the Crips and the Bloods and was all on everything, Splitterillo, and you name it, Free G Weed. Everybody was in the video. Anybody that was anybody on the West Coast was in this video.
Drake.
They was in the studio, played that shit for 2 Chainz, played the song. Didn't play the beat, played the song for Chainz. Chainz looked up and said, what that is? Oh yeah, you could throw that one in. Hold on, I got somebody finna come in here and drop on that bitch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Champagne
That's the
walked
Drake
in the room.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, Champagne Pop.
Champagne walked in the room.
Wow.
But same beat. Same fucking beat. No change on it. Just 2 of them happen to be 2 of the biggest artists in the world. So people were listening.
Well, not only 2 of the biggest artists, but 2 of the biggest artists who knew how to make a hit record.
Yeah.
Let's not get that twisted
and that
either.
Bigger Amount, yeah, that's a nice record.
And one thing about 2 Chainz, he's a millionaire. He's outside. He always pays homage to the DJs. He's always, I remember he set up a
He
nice
works
little
really
DJ.
hard.
He works really hard. So if I'm around a lot of these guys who are working hard and has millions of dollars, I'm not going to take anybody serious who's not going to work hard and you don't got nothing. You got to be starving. Like I'm still starving. Everybody on this table is starving.
Yep.
If you're not, and then I recognize hunger. So if I don't recognize hunger in you, I'm going to fall back for sure. So
yeah, you're either at the table or are on it. You're either food.
Facts.
If you're not the force, you're the food, buddy. So
Predator
lunchtime when you motherfuckers.
There you go.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, this is a very. You have to be assertive in this business. When you look somebody, you look them in the eye, you talk to them. You never tell somebody what they have to do, but you're going to explain to them what they're going to do and why they're going to do it.
Right.
And you have to be confident in your ability to respectfully and education in an educated manner argue your point of view. You know, you have to be able to talk about that in a way that you can articulate it, where somebody can understand whether they're 8 or 80 years old.
Right. Do you think people today need the it factor, whatever that is? Does charisma play a role in this anymore?
To me, it does.
Cardi B is a prime example.
She definitely.
I think Cardi B has the it factor. I think Cardi B is a prime example.
I saw that when I saw her on TV on Love and Hip Hop before she even put out a record. I saw it. I was like, oh yeah, she has a character. She has it. You know, you kind of look. And me on my side on the radio, I look for everything, and I can go on your social media and can tell if you're lying or not.
Really?
Yeah, I can definitely tell.
That's awesome.
Kingpin taught me a lot.
That's
I can
awesome.
tell if there's a lot of cap in your comments and likes and you know.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you said that because I've always felt
people
that.
to be, if you asked for help, if you just humbled yourself and asked for help and would be willing to work beside the people right next to them that you're asking for help, you'd achieve so much more.
Facts.
Than this aura of you
But
better.
that's difficult.
It's very difficult,
It's difficult
for a
and,
good majority of people.
uncomfortable. A lot of people I've noticed in this industry hate being uncomfortable. The people who are uncomfortable are the ones who get it. And the people who put themselves in uncomfortable situations and work hard, that shit is difficult. It's mentally difficult.
I have a news flash for you. Everything is uncomfortable. Getting out of bed in the morning is uncomfortable. Sitting here is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
Yeah, it's the minute you're willing to sacrifice your uncomfort, at that moment you start to work towards becoming comfortable for the rest of your life.
Facts.
Just got to sacrifice a little bit. You got to put a little bit.
I like that.
Ahead of it now. You know what I mean? We used LeBron James, right? We talk about LeBron James, how now LeBron James gave everything he had in basketball to be able to say, if you want me to play for you next year, you'll draft my son. He gave every waking moment of his life to be able to do that, to play at the next level, and then to leverage him playing for your team by drafting his son so he can.
Even if his son
amazing.
isn't the best basketball player,
it doesn't matter.
They're going to get LeBron.
They're going to get the best.
Leverage.
They're going to get an 11-year, played for first or second place for 11 straight years.
Leverage.
So, yeah, man, you got to work towards this shit. You got to sacrifice it all and give it all up twice on Friday. Yeah, if not, it's going to elude you. But we all learned about sacrifice. It's what
absolutely.
It's what makes the good meals worth it. The ramen noodle meals. Having too many of those makes the steak.
I still eat
good.
that, by the way.
Can I share something with you that nobody ever told me coming up, and I wish that they did?
Come on with it.
It took me 6 years to start making money in the music industry. I mean, make money, like make a dime, right? because I worked for free for so long to build my knowledge base. It took me 10 years before I could really support myself without doing something else on the side. And nobody ever told me that. So when I came into music, I thought, I'll work for free for a year and then I'll be rich next year. And it's not. So if you can't get beyond that and you can't accept that, you should probably leave sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because this is not an industry where you make a lot of money up front. It's an industry where you can make a lot of money fast, but you've got to put in something. You got to pay your dues to get to that level where you can actually monetize.
You know, the difference between us and most people is that most people can get money. We wake up every day and we make money.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. You can be a great 9-to-5 worker and be out there and go out there and have no problem punching the clock. And that steady check, that's for you. You don't have no problem doing that. And some of us find the fulfillment in waking up and manifesting something out of nothing every single day.
Sometimes even just out of an idea to piggyback off you.
The cheat code.
Idea. Yeah.
They're tuned into it. An idea, a conversation amongst friends, and using it to empower the masses. I love it. Can't spar with God.
Do you think that our listeners have finally figured out that there is no cheat code? And that it's really work and that they're tuning in because they think we know something they don't know?
They're picking it because the cheat code is exactly that. It has to be deciphered. I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to speak it to you. I'm going to code it. You got to watch all the episodes to pick it all up. If you watch every episode of the cheat code, if you go back to the first one and watch it and write down, don't listen to the fucks and the bitches and the clowns and all the other stuff. Listen to the facts and write down those gems. And by the time you get to the 10th episode, if you're not ready to run your label, then go back and listen to it again because you didn't pick it up enough.
And finally, like, you're looking at a whole bunch of failed situations. Like, I wouldn't even be sitting here if I didn't fail. Like, I failed a lot. So
Me too.
It's okay. Like, that shit makes you Iron Man.
Yeah, but fail faster. If I could do one thing different, I would fail faster.
Well, I think that's what the cheat code is. The cheat code is we figured out how to fail.
Right.
And we know what to do to avoid failure.
Right.
And if you want to be successful, you have to eat this every single day. And you got to work out every single day. And you got to do it it doesn't matter. So
breakfast.
Go to the gym.
Bye.
Cheat code. Da, 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 da.